Happy Sabbath Eve, beloved. Happy Sabbath Eve. Like always, it's an honor to be before you. I want to give honor to the Most High God, the great God that keepeth covenants and mercies to them that love him and observe his commandments. Then to his Son, who is our King, our Prince, our Savior, our Apostle, our High Priest, whom the Most High used to reconcile us back to himself. So we thank God for his Son. And then everybody that's joining with us, um, elders, mothers, brothers, sisters, children, even those online. As the scripture says, the partakers of the heavenly calling, we thank God for each and every one of you. And then those that have not been awakened to the truth, we ask that the Most High bestow mercy upon them and that he can awaken them like he awakened us, all right, to do his commandments, do his word. All right, so somebody's off from mute. All right, so we're gonna get started. I always want to start off now. Do we have any questions?
Say no.
Any questions? So later you getting off of mute. Again. All right. Any questions? Any questions? All right. Now we will go to our reading for this evening. It'll be Exodus chapter 25. That's Exodus chapter 25. Just a small recap of last week. Let me go back to it. So Exodus 24, we read last week, and it started off with Moses, right? Most High calling Moses to come up, and he also saying, have Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, which he reveals Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu, and the 70 elders of Israel. Okay, and they were going to come to worship, but they were not going to be as close as Moses was going to go, but they were still going to be, they were still pulled from the group. All right, and we talked about how that relevance of the leaders and everything, showing that kind of, say hierarchy, but you say hierarchy, because this is how it's basically trickled down, right? The intercessor gives it to the priests and the elders, and they pass it down. Okay. So they brought them there. And Moses, right, had to write all the words of the Lord. All right. So Moses did not write his own words. He did not write his own thoughts. He did everything according to what the Most High has told him to do. Wanted to make that one point. All right, so he built an altar under the hill and what? 12 pillars. What is this according to? The 12 tribes of Israel. So we will see that 12 does get represented, and usually all the time is dealing with the tribes. All right. Even when you go all the way to Revelation, it talks about 12, like 12 gates and stuff. So we see that 12, he's always thinking about Israel. He's always putting us on our mind and letting us know, this thing was for us. All right, for us to serve God, to glorify God. Okay, so we cannot take that away, right? There's a certain part I want to get. All right, but I'm just gonna have you read some spots here. So they did make offerings. What do we talk about here? All right, can you read 6 and 7? Well, 6 through 8. 6 through 8.
And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people. And they said, all that Yahweh have said, we will do and be obedient. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it upon the people. And Moses took the bread and sprinkled it on the people and
So it's
said,
blood.
Behold.
It's blood. Say that again. It's blood, not
So,
bird.
and Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, Behold, the blood of the covenant which Yahweh had made with you concerning all these words.
All right. So this is very important. Once again, showing the relevance of blood. Blood has a couple of different meanings. The Most High use it for. This is something that binds you. All right. We understand that, right? When we talking about, it's about family and blood taking the word, those kind of things, right? It's a certain connection that you have when it's the bloodline. Okay. Those things we will see in the scriptures, and it'll be very important. I know it's like it don't matter, how people put it, but no, that was very important. Definitely when it comes to the old covenant with certain things, because let's say we're talking about um, the Levites, right? They have the instructions and the authority and power to be governing the temple. However, if you weren't of that bloodline, you can't be doing that. All right, it's a punishment if you're doing it and you're not part of that bloodline. So it was very, very important. So when they was knowing what house they went back to, very important. Okay. So once again, just showing there's a lot of different diversity things about blood. However, this blood was representing to join us. All right. Blood is like a testament to join us. And not Moses, Paul. Last week, I believe we went to Paul in the book of Hebrews. And he talks about this event as well as another one talking about the blood. All right. So when we got the covenant, there was blood sprinkled on the people. Okay. It's not no paganism ritual, but even though they take a lot of things from the scriptures and some of our practices, this was something the Most High used, but it was something that we should be able to dive into and see greater depth in. Okay, just sprinkling blood to sprinkle blood. That was joining us. Okay, so we with that and also connected to when Howard Shai sat down with what the disciples, and he's saying, "This is the blood of the New Testament." All right. Now you're what? You're under the blood, not just covered by the blood, right? You are covered by the blood, but you have to understand what that blood was. You are covered by what? The covenant that you're bound to. As long as you stay under this covenant, when Christ was coming, right? That new mediator and everything. If you stay under this covenant, under this blood, under this testament, you are good. But once you walk out, you gotta, it's a fearful looking that's going to happen after that. Okay, so this is why he's doing these things. Hopefully we can understand it here, then you can really get that right, that deep understanding of what he was doing in the New Testament. Okay, but Paul getting revelation, but remember the key word of revelation is revealing. He's revealing some of these things. Okay, not that they weren't there. He ain't just bringing stuff out of nowhere. He's revealing some things that's been hidden to what? Some of our carnal understanding. Okay. All right. All right. So this is the review. So we ain't going through that. Go to verse 12. Do you want to make some points? Some points. Verse 12.
And Yahweh said unto Moses, Come up to me in the mount and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone, and a law and commandments, which I have written, that thou mayest teach them.
Very important. Yahweh said unto Moses, not Moses said to you, Yahweh said to Moses, you come up, all right, you come to me. I will give thee tables of stone. Yahweh saying, I'm going to give you, Moses, table of stones. And on these tables of stone, it's what? And a law and a commandment, which I have written. So Yahweh saying, I have something that I have is written, the laws and commandments and these table of stones. I'm just giving it to you. So what you do with this information, I want you to what? Pass it down to the children of Israel. This is why we have the advantage. Okay, we're gonna hold this. I know this ain't our chapter, but I don't know if I said anything last week, but it's on my mind. So what is that? Romans. Let's see, Romans 3 or 2. All right, Romans 3 and verse 1. Let's get Romans 3 and verse 1. I used to hear this, but all the time, in the previous church, right? But it's an important one. A lot of times people don't use it probably the proper way. However, but it is a powerful scripture. Okay. So Romans chapter 3 and verse 1.
What advantage then hath the Jew, or what profit is there of circumcision?
What advantage is it of what? Have the Jew. Being a Jew, what is the advantage? Or is there any advantage or profit of having circumcision? Is there anything to being a Jew? Is there anything to be of being circumcised? People are like, oh, no, it don't matter. It don't matter. Right? We all God's people, we all God's children. I get it. But let's see what Paul was saying about this. Everybody grab it. What does Paul say that everybody put themselves under? Okay. Verse 2.
Much every way clearly.
Hold on, let's stop right there. Let's stop right there. Hold on. I know we know it, Kai. He asked a rhetorical, is there an advantage of being a Jew? Is there a profit in circumcision? Everybody will say, no, Paul destroyed that stuff. It's about the. He just said what? 3 words after that to give you the answer. He said, much every way. Yes. It is an advantage of being a Jew. Or Israel, how you want to put it. And yes, there's advantage of what? Or there's a profit. Meaning it is not vain. Don't mean nothing. It is a profit in circumcision. This is what Paul's saying. Okay. Much every way. Now I told you the punctuation. You see them 2 dots. Usually it's explaining the thing before it. How is it an advantage? Or how is it a profit in circumcision in every way? He said much every way. What is that? Kai, let's read that. Verse 2.
Chiefly.
Mainly.
Because unto them were committed the oracles of God.
So he's saying mainly. All right. This is the chief thing. Right. The priority thing is what? Because they got committed the oracles of God. The big advantage they have, right, is because they got the oracles of God. That's what pushes them. That's what elevates them up higher than everybody else, because everybody didn't get the oracles of God. That's why we have to go to Exodus to understand. So per se, is just being the argument should just being a Jew alone without the oracles, their advantage in that. That might be a different kind of argument. Okay. But the advantage was as a nation of people, Jew, Israel, as a nation, we have an advantage because we had the oracles. It wasn't like today where everybody's getting our stuff. Okay. This was something that the specific nation had. And those people that came from a nation that came under Israel, they would be able to what? Enjoy some of that, what? Knowledge and oracles of the Most High. So that's the advantage. Because you know what happens? People don't understand what they're saying and what they're doing, and sometimes that messes them up, right? Or some people have a zeal of God, which Paul talks about, right? But not according to knowledge. It might be good, you want to get somewhere. But if you don't know where you're going, you can go somewhere fast, but in the wrong direction. It's better to walk in the right direction than run in the wrong direction. That's the advantage of us having the oracles of God. That's the advantage of us doing the commandments, these statutes, these judgments, these things that He's given to us. That's the advantage. Because we know what we ought to do. There's people that be running all different directions for years and years and years. Right? They going the wrong way. Sometimes they don't even know when they found the truth. They just running. But it's better, beloved. It's better to even to walk. That's what I'm saying. It's better to walk on the right direction than running the wrong direction. Okay. So this is why we're going through the scriptures. So we say, Lord, that we can what? Be directed in the right path. Okay. Go back to Exodus. So when we look at that, beloved, once again, don't let everybody put it Moses like Moses is coming up with all this. All right. Moses is a great forefather of ours. We will take nothing from him. Great forefather. We have nothing bad to say about Moses. Okay. However, the Most High know how people would do it. Oh, this is Moses' idea. No, he don't want you to put, he's saying this is what I want you to do. Okay. And we're going to see it gets much deeper than just, well, we'll get there. All right, Brother Kyle, what was that last part we read in Exodus? So the blood. Okay. So the Most High gave us the law, statutes, and the commandments, the laws, and the tables of stone, and which he said he written, and he says what? He want us to what? Be taught them. Okay, so I gave it to what? The intercessor to teach it to the what? People. When Christ came, he is the intercessor. And what did he get? He said, I got a commandment or whatever that I got from my father. I'm giving it to what? The people. Right? Same format. Okay, showing a little foreshadowing. Now let's go to, is there anything I want from here? All right. Okay, we'll stop it there. All right. Let's go to our chapter. Let's go to our chapter. If you got anything, bring it out. I know the routine. Okay. Let's get the first two verses.
And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they bring me an offering. Of every man that giveth it willingly with his heart, ye shall take my offering.
So the first two, like I said, he is just setting the foundation. Okay, I was saying this to Moses. He's saying, speak unto the children of Israel. All right. He ain't saying the whole world. He's very specific right now because he's dealing with them. All right. Speak unto them that they bring me an offering. Okay. So when people talk about it, an offering can be a gist of anything. All right. Think about just giving something. All right. So even when people talk about like tithes and or offerings, right? Tithe is dealing with a tenth. Offering can be whatever. Okay. So tithes dealing with a tenth, offering can be whatever. It could be the smallest amount you can think of. It could be 300% of, you know what I mean? That's whatever, it fluctuates. Okay. So he's saying, bring me an offering. All right. So this is not dealing with this certain situation we think in church right now. This is dealing with an offering of every man, listen, that giveth it willingly with his heart, ye shall take my offering. Why do you think he's using that verbiage for verse 2? Why do you think he's using that verbiage for verse 2? He couldn't bring an offering. Say something. Of every man that gives it willing with his heart, ye shall take my offering. What does that mean?
That you're giving it because you want to, not because you're obligated to.
Yes. Very important, right? This thing was not a thing where you're forced. Oh, if I don't do this, it wasn't that. This one that he's talking about right here is saying you willingly want to give this. So if you somebody like, man, I ain't trying to get this, I got something to do with it. Saying no problem. You don't have to give it. But those that want to offer it, he's saying that's the ones you're going to accept. If somebody's like, I don't want that. And this is where Paul, sometimes he was using this even in the New Testament, right? Not giving grudgingly and all those kind of things. He want a willing offering. All right. But we're going to see what this one is pertaining to. All right. Of every man that giveth it willingly with his heart, ye shall take my offering. So you're going to take it from just those individuals that's willing to give an offering. All right. Let's keep reading 3 and 4.
And this is the offering which ye shall take of them: gold and silver and brass, and blue and purple and scarlet, and fine linen and goat hair, and ram skin dyed red, and badger skins, and shittim wood, oil for the light, spices for anointing oil, and for sweet incense, onyx stones, and stones to be set in the ephod and in the breastplate.
All right. So he's just telling you what he's accepting. All right. So these were the certain things that he's taken in, and of course it's for a reason. All right. But this is the things that he is accepting to be offered. Okay, it's very specific because it's for a specific thing. Okay, so we see gold, silver, right? They're all still precious stones and metals and things that we think about now. So we still see the gold, silver, the brass, blue. See, that's for certain reasons. Purple. Purple was, I know we're all trying to make purple like this, we color purple is purple. It's actually attributed a lot of times to royalty and everything. I believe it's a hard color. Let's say hard. Maybe a more rare color than some of the other ones. I think a lot of times, let me check out this right. I think you have to go to the sea if I'm thinking right. One of them, I think that you have to kind of go to the sea to get the kind of certain colors as well. So some colors is hard to make than others, but purple was more of a like a royal color. Lydia was a seller of purple when you go to the New Testament. Okay. So you got blue, you got purple. Of course, all this is for a reason because the Most High is asking specifically for certain things. So blue, purple, scarlet, know that. Fine linen. I don't get no cheaper messed up stuff. And like I said, we go on, you see the things. Oil for the light, right? Because once you see what it is, you'll see why. You need oil for the light because you're gonna need lights. Spices for the anointing oil because you have to make that oil up. And there's different kinds of oils as well. Okay. Well, why I'm saying that is because there was one, they'll actually show you the I won't say formula, but they give you the ingredients of how to make one. Then there was one for the high priest, and he's the only one that can get that kind of oil. Okay, so there wasn't even a separation with that. So spices for the anointing oil and for sweet incense. All right. Once again, it should tell you, well, it's for the sanctuary temple. All right. So all these things was in there. The stones be for the ephod. This is one of the things that even the priest had, right? They'll wear the ephod over their breastplate, and it had how many stones? Anybody know how many stones was in the ephod? You can guess. So how many stones y'all think was in the ephod? All right. It was, are you saying something, Guy?
Well,
12, right? 12 stones. What do y'all think the 12 stones represented? All right. They're with the 12 tribes. Okay. So once again, priests will be wearing these 12 stones representing the 12 tribes where he's going in and out of the temple. Okay. Once again, the Most High is trying to what? Show us something. Trying to, give us hints of stuff. Okay. All right. Anybody got anything from 1 through 8? I mean, 1 through 7. Anybody got anything from 1 through 7? All right. Let's read 8 and 9.
and that them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them, according to all that I shew thee, after the pattern of the tabernacle and the pattern of the instruments thereof, even so shall ye make it.
So let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. And boy, are we going to hear it when we say this, boy. So, because you're going to hear two things. God don't dwell in temples made by hand. Okay. But here you see, and he said he's going to dwell among them. Okay. How can we rectify those kind of scriptures? People say you don't need to go to church, you don't need to go in a building, which is true. You don't have to go in a building. But people almost detest it as you go in the building. It's almost like, why are you going in the building? You don't need a building. You got people saying, you know what, the building, is great. Some people might say it's necessary. But what's our thoughts on that, beloved? In fact, let me find one that says. So we got he's saying that he's going to dwell among them. So he said, let them make a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. So he ain't talking about Moses. Moses saying, I'm going to dwell among them in the sanctuary. And then you got a passage saying, I know he don't dwell in temples made by hand. Okay. So how do we rectify that? Let me find that one with the temple made by hand. I think the original, I think Solomon brought it up, and then Dennis Reef talked about it again in the New Testament. So I'm just gonna split it again. So we can go to Acts chapter 7. And you gotta be, when I say this, beloved, I'm saying, with all I getting, get understanding. Put that way. All I get understanding. Sometimes we'll grab something, we hear something, and it sounds good, and we just run off of it with one verse. All right. And you can make a terrible mistake if you don't understand what is actually being said. Okay. So you'll see something like this, and this is a true statement. And let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. This is a true statement. He's saying that I may dwell among them. Now you see something like in Acts chapter 7, right? Brother Kai, can you read Acts chapter 7, 47 and 48?
Solomon built him an house, howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, as saith the prophet.
Right. So you have something that's saying, well, we see one part is saying that I may dwell among them, and then Solomon talk about the temple saying, we know he don't dwell in temples made by hand, right? As the prophet's saying. So it seemed like a conflict, right? Do God dwell? Did he dwell in the temple or did he not? What y'all think, beloved? What y'all think? Most High dwell in the temple or did he not? I'm confused. So I know this can be a little trickery. All right. So with the Most High, first of all, we have to understand certain times the language, right, that's being spoken, the context of what's being said and spoken, all right, because that can make a difference. So we read Exodus. Let's go to Exodus and get that one first. Okay. So when you see something like Exodus in verse 8, and let them make me a sanctuary. All right. So we think about the sanctuary, think about like the house of God. Let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. Make me a place, and I'm going to dwell among them. When we looked at it, beloved, they did make sanctuaries, and what? The Most High Spirit would come down, the glory would come down. So he's not lying. He ain't gonna tell them that I may dwell and like, yeah, but well, I'm not gonna do it. No, his glory and stuff would overshadow it. Okay. And we will be dealing with the Most High. Remember, the cloud will come down, they'll be there, then it goes up. So we literally know Most High was doing stuff when it came to the sanctuary. Okay. Now let's go to Acts chapter 7. So, but Solomon built him an house. All right. Howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hand, and saith the prophet. But what I had y'all do is stop there. We see the comma. Brother Kai, read verse 49.
Heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. What house will ye build me, saith the Lord? Or what is the place of my rest?
Read verse 50.
Have not my hands made all these things?
Oh. So what is he showing with this, beloved? What is he saying? What is he showing with this passage? And I'm cross-referencing where the prophet's saying. That's why I'm looking at it. All right. Oh, Brother Carlos. All right. I see your hand up. But
Yeah, he just saying, his place is in heaven. That's where he at. The earth is just his footstool. Like, what house will you build me? You can't build a house big enough where your house can fit. So he's just saying, the heavens is where he rests. That's his, house. When he dwell among us, it's just his presence. We go to the Old Testament. He said he abode on a cloud. That's what he mean when he gonna dwell. It's his presence, it's his glory. Not his physical, spirit. Inside this earth. Because Solomon made a reference that this earth can't even, fit him inside. He's the creator of it. So, he dwell up in the heaven, the third heaven. The rest.
you're good. Anybody else got anything to add to that? Or take away from that? That sound good. So I don't like using paganism stuff. So I'm gonna use that example. So how you would do it is, let's say you were trying to get an answer from God. Because you really like people make their prayers and stuff like that, but let's say you really need an answer from the Most High God, right? What will people do? And I mean, I like saying it, but even with paganism, what do you think they would do? What would be their next step? Like maybe you're praying, but you really need an answer from, you really trying to hear from them, or, get some kind of response with them. What is something you think people will do? It's hard to say that. It's hard to say it now, but no, yeah. Remember, what's the point? Even when you did these temples, what's happening in there? Why are they making these temples and stuff? When you think about even heathens, when they're making temples and stuff, why? What is the point of them making it? Remember, because I tell you, a lot of times they're replicating what we do. Okay. When you making these temples and everything, this is how people will go and try to commune with God. Remember, the ministers of that God usually is what? In that house. What? Serving and ministering. Right? So remember, when we doing sacrifices, where a lot of times we bring it to the temple, right? Getting things offered between God. So it's like, that's like the communication thing. The house is where somebody dwells, or where you can what? Usually can find them. Oh, you want to know where they at? You want to know how to get in touch? Oh, go to this house right over, right? So with God, right, he has a house. You will go there when you're trying to what? Get an answer, or, maybe get that experience, whatever it is. Okay. So one thing that some of forefathers could have got mixed up, I don't think is as like it is maybe today, but I don't know. Some people get caught up on the actual building in relationship with God, and we'll talk about that because this is what it's dealing with as well. All right. But if you understood God, how it is taught, even now, as crazy and wild as somebody get, usually when I ask them the same questions, they're going to admit to it. Can all of the Most High, all his presence, be contained in one area on the earth? I'll go big. I don't even say a building. I say, can a whole state encompass the Most High God? If they got a half assist, they're gonna say no. So if you understand that state can't do it, you surely know that a building can't do it. That's not even the size of it. You know a building can't contain them. So we already know, that's common. That should be common knowledge, that the Most High, all of his essence, like, can't fit and dwell just in that spot, right? He made and created everything. Okay, so if he created this, he can't now, this would be only his bound is to this earth, because he said he created it. What can you make from his creation that's going to have him what? That you can box him into? Nothing. Okay, so it's not really something deep that he's breaking out. Okay, so when he built him a house, man, we know he can't, he don't dwell in these things. This ain't where he lives fully, right? This is something where he brings his spirit down to, give an answer, do a work, but this ain't where he just dwells. Oh, if you don't make it to Jerusalem, because really that if I don't get it to the temple of Jerusalem, I ain't gonna be able to be with God or experience God. No. Okay. But this is how I will say it, that some of our forefathers was looking at that temple. This is why sometimes they was willing to die. They were willing to die and go to war for the temple. Even though sometimes they'll be heathens not doing what thus saith the Lord, that temple was like our manifestation, our carnal manifestation of our relationship with God. And the Most High did, because of how we looked at it, also would show that he's not with us sometimes by the destroying of the temple. Okay? So sometimes he will use that against us. So if you're thinking, just like you have your church, your sanctuary, all right, this is where I deal with God, everything, and you're thinking of that relationship. Now you start sinning and messing up. So my God will what? Make an enemy go and destroy it. So something was up. Okay. So he did, Most High, you do see him still using that aspect. So we did know. Okay. So once again, we know that when he's dwelling, is talking about his glory will come down and basically it will go. Right. Sometimes we'll get his answer stuff. He will go there, blah, blah, blah. Leave. Okay. So he said, this is where he was communing with men or Israel. He will come down, at the sanctuary, the temple. Okay. So with this one, we're going to go to the actual writing. Okay. Because he said what? Howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, as saith the prophet. All right. Let's see. So a prophet said, the Most High does not dwell temples made with hands. Heaven is my throne. But the Kai was saying that he got more specific in the third heaven. All right. Because the earth can be considered heaven, where the fowls and everything are at can be considered heaven. So that's why sometimes people will say third heaven. Okay. So heaven is my throne and the earth is my footstool. Okay. What house you build me? If he's saying my footstool is the earth, think about our feet, beloved. If our feet is on some little stool, right? I can't dwell on the whole stool because this is something small for my feet. All right. What house will ye build me? What could you possibly build me that can contain me? Saith the Lord. Or what is the place of my rest? Right. Have not my hands made all these things? Okay. So we know everything. The whole Most High God cannot fit in anything in this building. He can't even fit on this whole earth. Okay. He made it, beloved. Now let's go to Isaiah 6. This was not planned at all. But when you read with the saints, certain things come out. All right. So let's go to Isaiah chapter 66. I'm making this point. The structure of the church has its reasons, it has its benefits. It was from the Most High God. Now, when people pollute it, that is something. All right. And some people look at it as, well, it's better to go to a polluted church than no, the Most High. I'm not telling you to go to some churches being wicked and all that stuff, right? But also, I'm not going to destroy all churches because there's a wicked church. I'll say, find the right one, okay? So that's because you might be waiting for a congregation or something like that. Don't mean now you're just in sin. However, the Most High don't always tell you to be by yourself because he knows what? He knows everybody can't do that. And there's a certain kind of covering when you are part of a body. Okay. When you think about sheep, they're like a herd animal. Okay. Things ain't designed to be by themselves. So there is certain things we have to understand. But if somebody's by himself, they're going to put them in sentence because they're going to church. That'll justify you as well. Okay. All right. Isaiah chapter 66. And we're going to start at verse 1. I don't know, Brother Kai did step away. So I'll read for him. Okay. So this is Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 1. So this sound familiar. Thus saith Yahweh, the heaven is my throne, the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that ye build unto me? And where is the place of my rest? Sound verbatim, right? Well, he grabbed it right from that. Okay. Now let's read this verse 2. Because remember, I tell you, sometimes you go to the point passage where they grab it. Sometimes it gives you a little extra nuggets. Okay. Verse 2. For all those things have my hand made, and all those things have been, saith Yahweh. But to this man will I look, even to him that is poor and of a contrite spirit, and trembleth at my word. Anybody catch something different from Acts what Paul said, and then Isaiah 66? So I'm gonna tell you, when you go to Acts 7, all right, I'm gonna show you what's part of it. Acts 7, this is what he's quoting. Howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, saith the prophet. So the prophet said it. How do I know the Most High don't dwell in temples? Because this is what the prophet said. Heaven is my throne, earth is my footstool. What house have you built me, saith the Lord? Was the place of my rest? Have not my hands made all these things? Go to Isaiah 66. Same thing. The earth is my footstool. Where's the house that you built me? And where's the place of my rest? For all those things have my hands made. And all those things have been, saith Yahweh. Now we're going to see something that it didn't reference right away in Acts 7. What is that? But to this man will I look, even to him that is poured of a contrite spirit and trembleth at my word. Anybody know what that's saying? Or why that is relevant to what he's talking about? That, you don't dwell in temples made with hands. What is he talking about? Well, first, you can't read the chapter or anything like that. But what do you think he's saying from that passage?
That it doesn't really make a difference to him what a man is, as long as he's obedient, then he can do something, he can work with him.
Yes.
So it doesn't make what a difference what he looks like. So that comes down to color and all that. It doesn't make a difference to him. If you have that contrite spirit and you tremble at his word, that you believe in his word and you come to it with fear and trembling, then he can do something with you. He'll look at you. But somebody that's hardy and high-minded, he can't deal with them.
Even if they're in his house, right? Remember what he's saying, the temple, they look at this is the house of God. This is where God dwells, right? But when you really understand, if we doing all crazy wickedness, and I'm talking about the real temple and everything, you think God's dwelling there? No, his spirit left. However, a lot of people look at it as, well, I get to the temple. The temple is where I get the relationship. The temple is where I feel his presence. So as I say, the temple is probably ain't like it is today because they done, tainted the perception of what church is supposed to be. But the temple was, you get that, that's where God's presence is, that's where his spirit is, all those kind of things. However, he's letting us know, don't you think that you got to get here or this is going to get you close to me. No, I'm going to be present. I can be present to anybody that's what? Born of a contrite spirit, the humble, the meek, the ones that tremble at my word. I will show my presence to them. I will dwell with them. Sounds familiar, don't it? It's not saying that the temple, you shouldn't worry about the temple. No, he's just saying that this is not the thing where, oh, I'm just got to dwell here. No matter what, I got to dwell here and I can't deal with nobody else. No, say I will come to you. What did Yahweh say when he came to the scene? Stealing that woman. Not in this place. In Jerusalem is the place where, because everything was predicated, and it was predicated around Jerusalem. He's saying, but the true worshipers, what did he say about true worshipers? They worship in spirit and truth. I don't care if I'm not in Jerusalem. I don't care if I'm not in the temple. I can what? Hear from God. I can feel his presence, all those things, no matter where I'm at. It's not predicated on the place, predicated on what? The relationship where your mind is at. You get your mind to spiritual Jerusalem wherever you at. Some people couldn't, of course, understand that concept all the time. Okay? That's why he's saying, no. Can't confine me just this place. You got contrite, humble spirit. The Most High can deal with you wherever you at. And this really takes the umph from even the priest thinking they have power. If they put nothing with the priest, don't have nothing relevant with that. With you, you have your mind right. The Most High can deal and sup with you. And that's New Testament what? Revealing something of old. There you go. Big old mystery. What you got, Elder?
No, that was brought up before. But Paul in Corinthians, Paul talks about your body is the temple. So when he wants to dwell in a temple, he dwells in every body that has that contrite spirit that trembleth at his word. He dwells with them. So everybody is his own temple because that's where he dwells. So as long as you realize that he comes, like you said, he comes to you, he comes to every one of us, his temple, because that's where our body is.
Yes. So you have to, now I'm saying, you have to open your temple, you have to open your temple up to him, beloved. Something's dwelling in there. Something's dwelling in this body, right? Can hold the spirit. You got to realize, or you got to examine what spirit is this body holding. All right. If it ain't the most high spirit, I'm telling you right now, oh, it's the other spirit in there. All right. And they don't share, they're not roommates, they ain't gonna share and dwell. This is why some of these doctrines are so dangerous. Because they'll put it like, oh, yeah, well, they can dwell, they can do this. No, it can be a little light. No, no, no. Okay. So this is what Elder was bringing out. What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, which ye have of God, and ye are not your own? Don't you know your body is being let me say it, a temple, being a place where the Most High Spirit can dwell? This is what the church is supposed to be like and can be like if the righteous are dwelling in it. This is where people get it mixed up. If you just caught up on the building and not relationship with God, then yes, all you got is a building. But if the righteous gather, wherever they're gathering, that place becomes holy in righteousness. So I says, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, he says, what? I am in the midst. Us talking today, we become what? A temple right here where God's spirit dwelleth. So if somebody at church will want that, that's a beautiful thing. It's just if they're doing righteousness in it. If they doing wicked, it's just the synagogue of Satan. You can call it whatever you want. Some people gonna call things whatever. But what makes it a true church is with what? The people. What are they doing? They getting close to God? Yes. So that's all God wants. That's what the building was entailed for, right? It's to gather together in righteousness and holiness. Okay? But some got caught up on the actual building relationship. Some people, when they was going to church and then that COVID hit, some people lost their relationship with it because it was more tied into the carnal aspect of the building and not what the relationship. Now we should be focusing on that relationship with the Most High. Okay? In the building, the carnal building can manifest itself, or if it don't, it still should affect your relationship. Okay? So just want to make sure we have understanding of this. The temple, yes, when it was getting built and everything, it was righteous. It was known as the house of God and all that stuff. Yes. Matter of fact, I don't even know why we're here today. Let's find that one scripture. Now I'm talking about the temple that they're making, beloved, the temple that they built, right? People saying, was that really the house of God? It's the house of God. You just have to know the context, what it's dealing with. But yes, that's where the Most High Spirit would come down and do all those kind of things. There's two aspects of this, right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 21. Matthew's 21. And we're going to go to verse 12. Matthew's 21 and verse 12. I don't know if Kai got back, so I'll start verse 12. Oh, all right.
And Yahushua went into the temple of God and cast out all them that sold and brought in the temple and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats of them that sold doves.
All right. So Jesus went where? What did it say, Brother Kai?
The temple of God.
All right. Temple of God. So I'm not arguing. We can't argue with that. That's what it referred to, temple of God. Oh, they could be wicked. They wicked. That's why. Okay. Let's read verse 13. Let's see what else.
And said unto them, It is written, My house shall be called the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves.
So he said, it is written, meaning somebody was in the spirit and already wrote about this. And they said, my house, because they're speaking, this is God's spirit, giving a message so we can understand it. God is referring to what? The temple as his house. This is why I say you have to make sure you know what you talk about before you just start saying stuff. All right, this is talking about temple. He said, my house shall be called what? The house of prayer. My house was intended for those to pray to me, to seek for me. This is what my house was intended for. This is the part where people need to realize what we do. He says, but, now there's this thing with it, but. So my house was supposed to be a house of prayer for the saints to intercede, call out, cry out to me, talk to me, commune to me. This is what my house was for. When they come in here, they should be able to get closer to God. When they come on here, they should be getting closer to God. My house should be called the house of prayer. But, but, read that part, Brother Kai. Verse 13.
Ye have made it a den of thieves.
But who made it?
Ye.
You made it a den of thieves. You made this house a robbery place because you made the house. So, beloved, yes, the Most High can intend for the church to be what? The same thing, that house of prayer. However, if you don't do what thus saith the Lord and you let your own motives and things get in it, now you can change the character of that house. Because what? The Most High ain't going to fight you. You want to do wicked? He said, okay, I'll leave. You can do that. Now you took in the way what it was intended for and you made it for what you want it to be. That's the difference. When you see in these churches and they worry about what I can get, right? I want your money, I want the house, they want to just see how much they can get from the people. The least they can do is give you the truth. However, they just worry about take it. It's become a den of thieves. I want to get this certain title church so I can be elevated. People, have to reverence me and do this. And, for your selfish motive, a den of thieves. All right. Things you are trying to take. You are trying to take what God has intended it for. You are thieves. And when you got a bunch of thieves together, it becomes what? A den of thieves, not a house of God. But when the true worshipers, beloved, come together with their mind on one accord, seeking a common goal to please the Most High God, that place is the house of prayer. That place is where God dwells. That place don't even have to have walls. It moves as you move. It speaks when you speak. It's a walk. We are in a walking temple. All right. So even if we get a Lord, if God blesses us with a building, a dwelling place, all praises. Even with that dwelling place, don't get caught up on the dwelling place. You are the temple. The Spirit will be in you, thriving in you. So whatever happens to that place, it should not mess up your relationship with the Most High. All right. So with our conduct, beloved, be a house of prayer where the Most High will dwell, or it could be a den, or you make it a den of thieves. But beloved, our relationship determines what it's going to be. Okay, God will dwell where if we desire Him, He'll come. Like Elder said, that contrite, coming that humble contrite spirit, like in Isaiah, He'll come, He'll dwell with you, He'll hear that. But if we want to be puffed up, high-minded, thinking we better than everybody, we know more than everybody and everything, we get all cocky and stuff, all that's going to dwell in there is just going to be a den of thieves. Okay. All right. That was sidetracked all the way out. So apologize, beloved. Going back to Exodus. Okay. Going back to Exodus. I feel like I never want to over-explain stuff, but I hear a lot of things, and sometimes I do be quiet when I hear certain things from you. But I do want to acknowledge so we do understand. Okay. We do understand. All right. So Exodus, we're back at Exodus chapter 25. Where did we leave off? Okay, 8 and 9. So let me make a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. All right. So he's saying make a building, make a place that I can actually dwell among them. Okay. So when he dwelled among them, there was a sanctuary, but also we even seen that what? He was dwelling among people that weren't in the sanctuary. Right. So we already know God was already showing that as well. Now on a massive scale, he didn't show to everybody, right? He wasn't revealed, right? But we just looking back, we can understand it. Some of the ones in there, the temple, and they were still getting that relationship and that, the benefits of the Spirit of God. Okay. So it shouldn't have been a hard concept that we shouldn't been able to digest. Verse 9, according to all that I show thee, listen this, beloved, according to all that I show thee, okay, after the pattern of the tabernacle, and after the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall ye make it. What is verse 9 talking about? I talked about this before. I'm trying to think if I even mentioned it last week. I know during the atonement lesson, bringing out some of this stuff, I know I mentioned it there. What is verse 10 talking about? I mean, verse 9, sorry. What is the writer saying? It ain't nothing, I'm going deep, but I'm just saying. What is the writer saying in verse 9? And I think it's mentioned again. All right. So verse 9, according to all that I show thee, because remember, the Most High is showing Moses these things. All right. All right. So remember, Yahweh speaking to Moses saying, so he's telling Moses all these things. All right. Tell the people, bring their offerings, the things that they can bring as an offering. All right. And let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. All right. You're going to do this. You're going to make a sanctuary, and this is how I'm going to dwell with y'all. Okay. And he wanted the think about how he wanted the sanctuary to be built. He wanted to be built upon what? Those that wanted to serve him. That's why he's saying this is a free will offering, not a constraint, because I don't want y'all thinking this is something that I'm compelled. No, he wanted built off of what? Willing spirit. This is he. And like I said, he's teaching it all this, beloved. All right. Even the house now, you don't want a house that's built off of the wrong thing. All right. So it's the willing offering. He wanted his house to be built because he's trying to show something spiritual even in that. Okay. But he's saying with this, verse 9, according to all that I showed thee, he's talking about what? The sanctuary. I want you to make this sanctuary according to what I showed you. So he had to what? Moses had to see something. See, I want you to make it just like I showed you. I don't want you even freestyling with this building. Well, I think it should be like this. I think this should be that. He said, nope, he ain't leave it up for that because this has something deep in it. I want you to make this sanctuary just like you seen it. After the pattern of the tabernacle, just after the pattern of what you see, and the pattern of the instruments thereof, even so shall you make it. I showed you what something looked like. So he must have showed them a sanctuary, beloved, and told Moses, I want you to make what? A replica of what I showed you. Okay. People don't understand. He said, I want you to make a replica of what I showed you. Let's go to Hebrews. I'm not preaching this whole chapter, beloved, but it's one or two things I wanted to grab. Hebrews chapter, I gotta go in my Bible. I know it's right before like the 9. Yeah, Hebrews 8. Hebrews 8, and we're gonna go to verse verse 5. We'll go to Hebrews 8 and verse 5.
Who serve unto the example and shadow of heavenly things, as Moses was admonished of God when he was about to make the tabernacle. For see, saith he, that thou make all things according to the pattern shewed to thee in the mount.
So y'all see this, beloved? He was what? Show something in the mount. Listen. Who serve as an example in shadow. Shadow. Remember they talk about that shadow? A shadow of heavenly things. Oh, that's just a shadow. It's just that ain't that. It's a shadow, as it's not the real thing, but it's a replica. Okay? It's a shadow of heavenly things. As Moses was admonished of God when he was about to make the tabernacle, he showed him a shadow of what? For see, saith he, that thou makest all things according to the pattern showed thee in the mount. What Paul's saying. Y'all want to understand do y'all know what this temple was? It was a replica. The Most High showed Moses this thing and said, I want you to build it just like this. All right? This is not the true dwelling place of. Okay? It was what Kai was leading to earlier. Okay? We don't got time to go through all of it, but let's go to the next chapter. Let's just find something in there. I already went to the purified part, but I'm gonna go to a different spot. Yeah, let me just sprinkle this one. Let's get verse 11. Get verse 11 real quick.
But Christ being come and high priest of good things to come by a greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, that is to say, not of this building.
So Christ became a high priest, not according to the replica law, right? Of good things to come by a greater and more perfect tabernacle, all right? Not made with hands, that is to say, not of this building, okay? So when we say not made with these hands and everything, it's not something a earthly dwelling, because this is a replica of what? The true. This is where Christ went up. He went to what? He went to heaven, okay? He went to heaven, where his Father dwelling, that kind of heaven. All right. Read verse 23, just so we read this, I think, last week, but we read again.
It was therefore necessary that the patterns of things in heavens should be purified with these, but the heavenly things themselves with better sacrifices than these.
Right. It was necessary that the pattern of things in the heavens should be purified with these. All right. So we see how the earthly thing was purified with the sacrifice. So the heavenly one should have a better sacrifice, like we talked about. Let's read the next one, then go back.
For Christ is not entered into the holy places made with hands.
He's not entered one made with hands, not the building that man made. He didn't enter into that holy place. Y'all see where it still say holy place? See how it's still showing you this ain't just, don't put it like it's a regular building like your house. No, this was a holy place. It was dedicated, all right, for righteousness. People have defiled it, but don't take away the building. No, people defiled it, okay? Christ is not entered the holy place made with hands. There is a holy place, which is the temple. That was made by hands, but that was a holy place. Read.
Which are the figures of the true.
Which is a replica of the true holy place, of the true tabernacle. Read.
But into heaven itself, to appear in the presence of God for us.
But he went to the true one. So this was the replica that man, built and everything, all right? So we know this was going to be temporary, right? This is not the true dwelling place in the house of God. The true one is what? Where he's at, above, okay? So this is the understanding that you have to understand when it comes to people arguing the whole, oh, this ain't, God don't really dwell here. That he can dwell in a building, but it's not in the sense that this is all he's bound to, and he can't deal with nobody or do anything outside the building, okay? All right. let's keep working. All right, Exodus. We back in Exodus chapter 25. Let's go back to Exodus 25. We got some ground to make up, so let's make up some ground. Y'all ain't gonna be here till 11. All right. All right, brother Kai, where we at?
Verse 11. No, 9. 9, right? I mean 10. 10.
All right, let's go 10. 10 sounds good.
And they shall make an ark of shittim wood. 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold within and without shalt thou overlay it, and shall make upon it a crown of gold round about.
Keep reading.
Thou shalt cast 4 rings of gold for it, and put them in the 4 corners thereof. And the 2 rings shall be in the one side of it, and the 2 rings in the other side of it.
This is talking about the Ark of the Covenant. All right, this is literally where we would say this is probably the most holy instrument out of everything we had in Israel. All right, the Ark of the Covenant was it. Okay, everybody can't even look at. That's what kind of reverence and righteousness that Ark had, right? So he's showing how to build it, how to replicate it. Okay, so he's literally giving it to, and it had 4 rings because this is where it will have to travel. There's a very good story about that as well, but we're not going to deal with that today. Okay, so he's making the Ark of the Covenant, telling how to do it, and everything is covered with that gold, all right, that pureness, right, that purging, because gold would be what purifying all those things. So he's still showing that this thing is supposed to be what pureness, because the true temple is about what purity as well. All right, brother Kai, you keep reading. What verse? What verse yet? The
Verse 13.
What verse? I'm sorry.
13.
13. All right, put this up for you.
And thou shalt make staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold. And thou shalt put the staves into the rings by the sides of the ark, that the ark may be borne with them. The staves shall be in the rings of the ark, they shall not be taken from it.
Mm-hmm.
And thou shalt put in the ark of the testimony which I shall give thee.
All right. So you're building this thing, and I want you to put the rings on there, and you're going to put the poles in there, and they should not be removed from it. All right. Because what? This is how, if you're going to move it, this is how you're going to do it. All right. Once again, the Most High does and give these instructions for a reason. You can almost look at it as he give every instruction because he's showing somebody's going to do something different. All right. If you almost look at every law, somebody always do something contrary to it. All right. So like I said, there's a good story that deals with that. I should say good story, but an example that deals with why he's telling them to have certain things the way it is. And then that one verse he's saying you should put it in it. I'm sorry, I need to stop looking at my Bible. I'm old school, y'all. So I like to look at the Bible and not the screen all the time. Verse 15. The staves shall be in the rings of the ark, they shall not be taken from it. 16, I'm sorry, and thou shalt put into the ark the testimony which I shall give thee. All right. So he's going to put in the testimonies. What do we give? All right. So it's a law into the testimony, those kind of things, right? This is part of it that's going in there. Okay. Of course, there's more testimony stuff to happen, but he's telling you, you're going to put this in the ark. Right. Just kind of putting the status of what, this is. Like I said, it's like the most precious thing. So putting that in there, showing you the value, how he's valuing things. All right, let's keep going. If somebody has something, just get off the mute, speak, or hand whatever you want to do. Okay, a lot of it's getting like just descriptions and stuff, so I'm not going to keep breaking it up every time Kai reads a verse or anything. All right, brother Kai, let's keep going. Let's keep going. What verse?
17.
All right.
Thou shalt make a mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And thou shalt make 2 cherubims of gold. A beaten work shalt thou make them, and the 2 ends of the mercy seat.
Mm-hmm.
And make 1 cherub on the one end, and the other cherub on the other end, even of the mercy seat shall you make the cherubims on the two ends thereof. And the cherubims shall stretch forth their wings on high, covering the mercy seat with their wings, and their faces shall look one to another. Toward the mercy seat shall the faces of the cherubims be.
All right. So when we look at this, now this talking about the mercy, we talked about the mercy, we talked about the importance of it. This is where the Most High glory or spirit will go down to. Okay. So now it's talking about we have these two cherubims. Yes, they'll be like the angels. You probably seen the picture many a times. Let me see if I can pull one up. That's some things that give me. Right. I just put Ark of the Covenant. You'll see some of the I'm not saying exactly, but you'll see the gist of, you see a lot of them, the two cherubims, they got the wings touching, all that stuff. So that's basically the look. All right. I'm not going to say exactly which one it looked like, but it's overlaid with gold, and this was kind of explain it, and it's over the mercy seat. Okay. So so that's what he's talking about, the two ends of the mercy seat, and they're basically overshadowing and touching. People have alluded to what that could mean, meaning that that some people say, the angels are guarding the mercy seat. You can't get to Most High without kind of going through them. They're facing each other to kind of show there's not like a blind spot per se, right? Almost like, it's looking this way, you're looking this way, right? So nothing can not be seen. That, it's a lot of different aspects of it, right? Some people even talk about the was that Psalm 91, where under shadow of the Most High. It's a lot of different things where people can pull from it. Not saying any of them are don't have relevance or anything to it, but I'm sure the spirit can bring out a lot of different things dealing with it. Okay, but once again, he's just showing you the work that they had to do, and they go into details how's look. All right. So also dealing with idolatry, right? Because people, oh, you can't, they created angels, and this is in the temple, all right? In the sanctuary, they had angels and everything. However, they were not bowing down and those kind of things. They weren't doing anything like that, okay? Because that would be idolatry, right? But the Most High had them doing certain things because this is supposed to be a replica of the true. So they're showing this, and the true one, there's probably what? There's probably a great deal that there's two, I don't know exactly two, but it's showing you that there's probably angels what? In the way. Right, you just can't get to the mercy. You can't get the Most High. There's angels guarding you. Okay, so once again, there's different ways where the spirit might give y'all way more things. All praises if he showed any more, but this is where it's at on the surface. Okay, Brother Kai, what verse now?
21.
You said 21.
Yes.
Okay, so you're facing each other. Yep.
And thou shalt put the mercy seat above upon the ark. And in the ark thou shalt put the testimony that I shall give thee. And there I will meet with thee and will commune with thee from above the mercy seat, from between the two cherubims, which are upon the ark of the testimony, of all things which I will give thee in the commandment unto the children of Israel.
Oh, very important. All right. But this is now, this ain't doing the description. This is talking about now what he's going to do. What's the intent of this? So you have this Ark of the Covenant. This is in the Holy of Holies. But this is sitting in the Holy of Holies. People isn't seeing this. This is where the curtain's in front of. Okay. This is not something in the first part where all the priests are dealing. This was something there. Okay. However, he's saying you're going to do all this in verse 20 and 21. And thou shalt put the mercy seat above upon the ark. So this mercy seat is going to go up upon it. And in the ark, thou shalt put the testimony that I shall give thee. Moses don't got no influence on this thing, all right? And there, listen, and there, where's the there? That mercy seat and everything. And there I will meet with thee. Okay, his spirit will meet with us. All right. Well, This is dealing with the Ark of the Covenant, right? And there I will meet with thee, and I will commune with thee from above the mercy seat, from between the two cherubims which are upon the ark. Remember, they was overshadowing, looking like that. He said, I'm going to commune from in that spot, which are upon the ark of the covenant, of all things, listen, of all things which I will give thee in commandment unto the children of Israel. So when he's saying, make this place where I dwell with you, right? Because you're going to commune with me from this spot. What was in there? This Ark of the Covenant, where he says, what? I'm going to speak and deal with you from there to do my commandments, or the commandments I give to the children of Israel. So if there's an issue or something that came up and it says, well, go, blah, Most High can give it to them from there. Okay. This is what we give to the children of Israel. So y'all see, the Most High ain't changed. We always got the messages from above. All right. So this is what this was symbolizing and showing. Okay. So this is where the Most High's ain't dwell. That's why I say he did dwell. You just have to understand the context. All right. Brother Kai, let's keep going. Verse 23.
Thou shalt also make a table of shittim wood. 2 cubits shall be the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold, and make thereto a crown of gold round about. And thou shalt make unto it a border of an hand breadth round about. And thou shalt make a golden crown to the border thereof round about.
You keep going. This is description, but I'll break down for every single thing. But this is a description of it, of just how it was made. You keep going, bro.
And thou shalt make it 4 rings of gold, and put the rings in the 4 corners that are on the 4 feet thereof. Over against the border shall the rings be for places of the staves to bear the table. And thou shalt make the staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold, that the table may be borne with them. And thou shalt make the dishes thereof, and the spoons thereof, and covers thereof, and bowls thereof, to cover withal. Of pure gold shalt thou make them.
Everything is with this pure gold. All right. Everything got the same essence to it. All right. With the pure gold, it should be that righteousness, that holiness, that's covering everything. Okay. So Most High had this thing decked out. This is why when you really, when you really look at it with certain things, like when you look at the Cashapp, you know how you go to some things and it's like decked out with gold and everything. That's something they grab from here. But it's supposed to look beautiful, beloved. All right, this is what we gotta understand. Like the Most High wasn't making those shabby things. Nah, he said, I'm giving you a replica of the truth. He can only make it, he makes it beautified on this earth so we can understand, hopefully, the truth. When you see this thing, all these things decked with, think about it, you go to a place where everything's just gold. You're like, oh my God, this is beautiful. This is valuable. We can't play around. Like you just feel like you're in the presence of just, you around good stuff. You're like, man, I don't want to get dirty. Like I don't want to touch nothing. Like this just looks beautiful, right? That's how he wanted it to be, right? Because psychologically, that gets your mind into it, right? You go to a lot of times, I don't want to do this to our people. Sometimes when you go to ghetto establishment, sometimes you feel comfortable at ghetto, put it that way, right? But when you go to, somewhere that's, I would say, bougie uppity, sometimes what? You have to kind of get yourself disciplined to be in that presence, right? Sometimes they don't even allow you to wear anything. You have to wear a certain thing, right? And that kind of environment inspires you, to be proper, whatever. Okay. So this is the same thing with the Most High. When you go into his temple, you see how beautiful it is. It's like, man, you ain't gonna want to come in there dirty. Oh man, I can't. I'm filthy, right? Even though I understand the carnal aspect, right? But this is what's supposed to be inspiring. Get a house of God. We want that. We want it to look good. You don't want to wear the ceiling looking like it ain't taken care of. You got the wallpaper going down. I got holes in all it. Like that ain't inspiring. So the Most High understand these things, also showing us this is how beautiful it is. So when you translate some of these things, beloved, this is what some of the prophets sometimes see in visions. And we go to Revelation when it's talking about certain things, like gold streets is transparent and it got like what the heck, you know what I mean? But it really don't get caught up on particularly how look they're trying to describe this beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all think about blood. They not record, like, you know what I mean? They're trying to describe it with words. And some things you like, some things, so it's like I can't even describe, I can't put it in words. It was just, and you start putting precious things that's just precious, right? It's like, man, it was like pure gold. It was like so bright. It was like, it was just regular gold, but it was gold, like, look clean, because they're different. When you deal with jewelry, I don't know if anybody have gold chain. I got a gold, but there's difference when, like, you have for a while, it can get like little, I mean, just the environment, it'll get a little, maybe even cloudy, whatever, right? But then you can shine it up, right? So, and then it's like, man, when that thing looks shiny, it's like, dang, now, like, brings that beauty out of it. But this is how, when they're looking at the temple and stuff, they're just seeing things just perfect, no blemishes. The gold is just bow, right? Precious stones, it's like, oh my God, think about it. We looking at it, there's rubies and diamonds and platinum, and you seeing all these things, you trying to write it down. The angel like, write this down, so the people can see, and you trying to put it into words, and you just doing the best. These writers doing the best they can to show you something that they never even see. They can't even fully compromise how beautiful this thing is, and they trying to put into words for us. Instead of being caught up, well, it exactly look like this. It ain't. Don't get caught up on exactly trying to figure out the dimensions of it. All right, I ain't talking about this sanctuary. This had dimensions of it, but don't get caught up in that dimension aspect of the true temple. Right? It's just showing you that this thing is beautiful and perfect in every aspect. This carnal mind just gets excited. We our whole demeanor probably changes. We just could just witness it, right? So this is when we're looking at the Most High does these things, beloved. Okay. When inspire righteousness, inspire holy, inspire. This is your house. This is one thing I look at it. I don't need this house. This house is for you. I want you, when you come and sit, sometimes it reminds me of my God, right? So we got the incense going, got this stuff looking clean. He got the servants of the house proper, looking clean. So this is supposed to be the spirit that's dwelling in that house. Okay. So he's going, like I said, I'm not going to every detail, everything that's made. I don't even know fully how all these things look, but what I mean, we're going to go through this and seeing that, he's covering everything with gold, these kind of aspects, just to see what he's trying to show us, beloved. Okay. All right. What verse we at, brother?
Verse 30.
All right, let's keep going.
And thou shalt set upon the table shewbread before me away. And thou shalt make a candlestick of pure gold, of beaten work. Shall the candlestick be made, his shaft, and his branches, his bowls, his knops, and his flowers shall be of the same. And 6 branches shall come out of the sides of it, 3 branches of the candlestick out of the one side, and 3 branches of the candlestick out of the other side. Three bowls made like unto almonds, with a knot and a flower in one branch, and 3 bowls made like almonds in the other branch, with a knot and a flower. So in the 6 branches that come out of the candlestick. And in the candlestick shall be 4 bowls made unto almonds, with their knops and their flowers.
So he's explaining the first thing. I'm going to go back to verse 30. Thou shalt set upon the table shewbread before me always. We will have to make shewbread. This is the thing that David eaten, that he wasn't, say this correct so people don't go crazy. He was not, according to law, allowed to eat that shewbread. That was not intended for him. It was intended for the priest. He was showing something deeper with that aspect, but we're not going to dive into that, right? But the shewbread was supposed to be made, particularly I want to say even Sabbath, right? And that was for the priest to eat alone. That was part of the thing, part of the ceremony, right? All right, and then he's going into the candlestick. Like I said, these are things that's in the temple. Right. When I showed you the replica even last week, it showed you, remember, the shewbread, the candlestick, and the incense that's in the temple. And then after the second one, you have the Holy of Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant stuff is. So he just explained it, what to look like. And you see the detail, all right? The Most High, he get descriptive when he wants something to be done. Okay. So certain things, beloved, reading the scriptures, he knows what he wants. So when he say this is what he wants. Okay. All right, let's keep going.
Verse 35. And there shall be a knot under two branches of the same, and a knot under two branches of the same, and a knot under two branches of the same, according to the 6 branches that proceed out of the candlestick. Their knops and their branches shall be of the same. All it shall be one beaten work of pure gold. And thou shalt make the 7 lamps thereof, and they shall light the lamps thereof, that they give light over against it. And the tongs thereof and the snuff dishes thereof shall be of pure gold. Of a talent of gold shall he make it with all these vessels. And look that thou make them after their pattern, which was shewed thee in the mount.
So once again, showing a description of it, there is some things that we can probably look at it and bring stuff out, like, being, it shall be one beaten work of pure gold. You can make little things about that, as what that could mean, right? There's little things in there. Still, I always say be mindful of the numbers. He'll use certain numbers as well. Like I said, some patterns you see in the scriptures. Even the tongs thereof, right? The snuff dishes, those kind of things of pure gold. Okay, so everything we see, everything is made of gold. All right, so our Father's does have the gold. All right, because once again, that's one of the precious things that was showing you. Definitely royalty. They'll have a lot of gold and stuff like that. So it only makes sense that the place where the Most High is dwelling, all that stuff, should have these things. All right. And at verse 40, and look that thou make them after the pattern which was showed thee in the mount. Okay. Once again, where Paul quoted from, that what he got all this. This was not his thing. This was not man influence. All right. This was the Most High. Why is he doing all this? Saying, oh, but I'll dwell on there, because he is coming and showing his presence. All right. And he wanted to make that house appropriate, something that's what? A replica of the true. All right. But don't get caught up. This is when the temple will go down. We shouldn't get caught up in saying, oh my God, the temple's down. The Most High ain't done. He ain't get destroyed when the temple got destroyed. All right. But what? Our relationships got to be the same. Okay. Relationships still need to be focused on the Most High Spirit being in us. That's the most important thing. Okay. All right. Anybody got anything they wanted to add? Any comments? Anything you've seen in this stood out to you? Open the floor to you all. Well, beloved, I hope we learned something from this chapter. Like always, like every time even if I read, when I read it with with y'all, like I always get something. Most High just always share something, whatever, or bring something back to my memory. So I thank God for His Spirit always just because we're seeking just to learn about Him. I thank Him because He always teaches. All right, so we thank the Most High for another Bible class. We thank Him for another gathering. And, we want to continue to put Him first, beloved. Okay. And purify, ask the Most High to purify our temples. Okay. Purify us. And if He dwells, that our move be to having an actual place, we ask that the Most High keeps our spirits right. And then when we go there, we can make it a true house of prayer for all people. Okay. So with that, that'll be it. We will end it there. All right. I will say